Mario is a character that a lot of us obviously love. His universe is charming to say the least, and its colorful setting feels welcoming. We've guided this mustached hero on many adventures throughout the course of our lives as well. In some ways, his story has become engraved in us. Having played his games throughout my entire life, I grew attached to our red-capped plumber. Or past plumber. I guess Nintendo just mentioned he's not a plumber anymore. Anyways, even though I grew up in the 90s and felt like I've experienced a great deal of Mario's timeline, there's still a whole world that came before that point. This was an era that was largely undocumented simply because we didn't have the all-powerful internet allowing us to timestamp everything we came across. We're quite lucky, honestly. And some of these things from this time period really make me question the hero we've always guided. Now, I'm not going to be diving into the whole Mario's mental thing, nor really touching on much of the Vsauce angle about us as the player committing bad deeds. I legitimately want to know if Mario was always good all along, or if Nintendo dabbled with the idea in the past to showcase him in a more villainous light. Now obviously, we have the events of Donkey Kong Jr. to consider, since Mario is in the position of being the antagonist in that game. He's located at the top of the stage, contrasting Donkey Kong's position in the earlier games. He also has a whip that he uses, which is a bit inhumane considering the apes he's using it on are pretty smart and capable of making their own educated decisions. Even if they weren't, it'd still be quite cruel. However, beyond this point, Mario always seemed to be positioned as a hero. But there's one particular relic I want to reference because it ultimately has me super curious about Nintendo's intentions. This is honestly something I didn't know existed until I stumbled upon someone selling it at a gaming convention I was a guest at, and I found the top of the item to be pretty peculiar. What I'm referring to is a chest that features Super Mario Bros. 3 and Zelda on it. There are other variants of this chest as well, and some feature the classic Mario Bros, while others have Super Mario Bros. 3. They were released around 1988 alongside a ton of different Nintendo-themed merchandise, from bed sheets to curtains to everything in between. Overall, this chest is a simple box that you can store your games in if desired, and it features various artwork on the sides. On the top of the box is a bit of a strange image though. Ultimately, this is really what sparked the question in my head to begin with. On this box, we have a picture of Mario, but he is a tad sinister. What is showcased is a normal scene from the Mario universe. Mario has just escaped from Bowser's castle with a princess that he just saved. Actually, I'm going to stop this right here. Can we please take a look at Toad for a second? It looks like he just did some hardcore drugs and he's about to vomit a ray of happiness. Just thought that was worth mentioning. Carrying on, the whole setup of this image is strange, and Mario has such a weird expression on his face. Honestly, it makes me think of two things. The first is that he just bested Bowser once again, and he's being a bit egotistical about his win, almost like he's challenging Bowser to up his game next time. The second is that Mario is a tad sinister, and part of this feeling comes from the way he is holding the princess, or at least I assume that's the princess. She seems so small. Is she a child? Her head is like a fraction the size of Mario's. She honestly looks like Rosalina as a kid to some degree, or at least that's what she reminds me of. Her expression just throws me off though. Obviously I could be overthinking this, but it seems like her expression is more reactionary to how Mario is manhandling her instead of what they just escaped from. It's clear Mario isn't worried at all about the enemies behind him, as he's simply walking away from it. At no point does this princess feel reassured about her recovery. Even the expressions of the enemies in the background just seem mellow. Now obviously, this is released in conjunction with Super Mario Bros. 3, which is based around a play. Miyamoto confirmed this in a promotion for Super Mario Maker when it first came out. Some of these elements in the picture could be influenced by that as well. Hell, perhaps the enemies are just horrible actors. However, Mario's expression is still an outlier since he's supposed to be the hero. After going through all the castles in the game, and having to repeat the process over and over again, why would he have an egotistical expression? I feel like he should be happy all of it is over. Instead, he looks like he is kidnapping Toadstool. This whole scene just irks me. Do any of you watching find it odd too? Toad's obviously happy because Mario has come to the rescue. Or, well, you know, he's on drugs. But the uncaring nature of enemies in the scene contrasts with Mario's devilish grin, just paints the whole scene in a weird light. If you were the artist creating this, why would this be what you settled on? It seems so weird in comparison to what the player encounters in the actual Mario games. I mean, you certainly would have reference from existing artwork too. Making Peach, or at least assuming who is Peach a child, seems a tad strange, unless it is somehow leveraging Super Mario Bros. 2 and how Peach can become small when hit. It's important to note that at this point, Nintendo probably didn't have a defined style guide either for how things should look. This is probably why Mario wears so many different colored shirts. Merchandise was created on a whim without any real system in place for quality control. However, all of this really got me thinking though. Back in the 80s when Mario was still evolving, the entire direction of his character was still uncertain. This is the only era of Mario where he's positioned as a villain. What if the future of Mario was for him to continue to swap roles? The hero in some games, and the villain in others. From this point forward, he was always positioned as a hero, and anytime he dipped into a controversial role, it was simply because of a rivalry. During this time when Mario was starting to boom in popularity, his future was honestly still very uncertain. It's fun to think about because during brainstorming meetings at Nintendo at the time, his entire destiny could have been changed if they decided to put him in another game as a villain. Similar to Donkey Kong Jr., the hero we know and love could have been a more flaky character as he bounced back and forth between his different roles in the series. Thinking about how far he has come and evolved over the years is pretty amazing. Even though I was born during a time where I felt I got the most out of Mario, truthfully, a lot of us only experienced the tip of the iceberg. Mario's future was ironed out during these years, but it still makes me wonder how things could have been different. So this leaves me with one final thought. Could Mario have been a forgotten antagonist? A potential villain? It makes you wonder. But now that I've dumped that on all of you, I'd of course love to hear your input on this. If you know something I don't, please share it in the comments below. Having not lived during the era in which all of this transpired certainly limited my scope. If you know of existing vintage artwork, or anything that may add more to the conversation, I'd be super grateful if you could share it. But ultimately, do you think Mario could have potentially been a villain more often? Was the original plan for him to bounce between the two roles ultimately scrapped? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane. Perhaps you'll like some of these other videos as well. I'm going to be at Retro World Expo October 14th and 15th as a guest with my friends Treesicle and Lockston. It's a pretty awesome convention and I hope to see you there. There's info in the description below. Thanks for watching guys and gals, and until my next video, cheers.